And good day. It is time now for another watch list. Talk about class of 2019. This time, defensive tackles for the class of 2019 in the state of Illinois. My watch list, very low standards this year from last year because there was a lot of great defensive tackles. Good defensive tackles still from this class, but not as big as with last year with Noah Shannon, Eli Teague, Mickey Brown, the guy out of Bolingbrook. There was a lot of good talent. 2019, still good talent, but not as big as last year's class. Now, again, I'm doing the defensive tackles class, but on my watch list, if you see, I did not move any defensive ends that will be moved to defensive tackles. I did two. I did two. But also, you can check out my athletes section 2 for the watch list as well. If you're like, oh, where's my name? Just check it out, and I might have your name there. So this is defensive tackles class of 2019, and here's a promise. And after talking to some college coaches and talking to some high school coaches, there's a lot of defensive tackles who are in their senior season who didn't have a good junior season, and they're being moved on to the defensive side of the ball. And I've been hearing good things about them, and it's going to be a scary season for these kids, and I think there's going to be a lot of late offers happening for a bunch of defensive tackles. That names will not be announced on this defensive tackle class of 2019 list. And this is February 26th, so I guarantee you there's going to be about 8 to 12 names added on this list by the end of September. Again, my email is coachbigpete@fp@gmail.com, and fill out the Deep Dish Football questionnaire so I have your info. Let's start. My two best defensive tackles in class, hands down, are Damon Taylor of East St. Louis. Unbelievable. Gets off the quick burst step, ability to basically shred the blocker, and ability to get to the quarterback. And my personal thing, he makes piles too. Does a great job. Damon Taylor of East St. Louis. My other one, he's an offensive lineman, defensive lineman, but I like him at defensive tackle, and I think he is impressive. And he's got 6'4" stature, great ability to get to the ball, and again, does a hell of a job with his hands. Isiah, Homewood, Flossmoor. Those are my two top defensive tackles for the class of 2019 in the state of Illinois. Damon Taylor is East St. Louis, Isiah of Homewood, Flossmoor. Now, going to get to project one. If they work on him, if they get him moved from the end to the tackle spot, this kid could be very, very, very interesting. And that's Trayvon Thomas of Leyden. Had a great amount of sacks, great ability, especially with his size. But if they're able to move him to the tackle spot, he could possibly be jumped up over those two tackles that I just mentioned, because Trayvon Thomas is a hell of a tackle. Now let's get to the other tackles. Jackson Farsalas of Zurich. Great season last season. Again, another good pass rushing defensive tackle, but also, again, unable to close those gaps. Does a great job of it. But Jackson Farsalas of Zurich, and again, I do apologize if I get the last names wrong, because I will get last names wrong. Again, I do apologize. Next one, IC's Ricky Mysliweic. Hopefully I didn't get the last name wrong. Mr. Spins, because he likes to spin so much, as I've seen so many times. Hopefully, luckily he's put a stop to the spins. But he has the potential of being a great defensive tackle. Great frame for a defensive tackle. Basically, this is one of the funniest things. I like to see my defensive tackles, and me being a former defensive tackle, a la defensive tackle, nose guard, zero technique, one technique, all those techniques. Basically, simple as that. They got the stature of a Buddha. They look like Buddha. They got the big belly, and basically they're ready to close those gaps and rush the passer. Simple as that. Those are the two main things. And if it's the main thing, especially now with defenses, when you have lesser linebackers and all the other stuff, it basically is keep that offensive line off those linebackers, and they are requiring more defensive tackles. Yes, to pass rush, but to also have pure gap control. And Ricky Mysliweic is one of those from IC. Great kid, too. We'll look out for him. Mark Winters, Glenbard West is sort of a guy you want to keep an eye out for. I love the way the kid plays. There's a little bit of a zero technique. Could be moved around a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see his growth pattern. But Mark Winters of Glenbard West, another defensive tackle to keep an eye out for. And these are not in order, just to let you guys know. Zach Wareyko, Brother Rice, really, really impressed with this young man. His ability to get to the quarterback. He does a great job. He plays a little bit of the end spot, but he's not going to play at the end in college. He's going to be a defensive tackle. I'm sorry, I ruined your dreams of passion of being a defensive end. I'm sorry, but I think he can be one of the best defensive tackles in this in coming up in this class. I really, really do like him. If you look at some of his film, he does a great job of reading the play and closing that gap, like I said numerous times. Another one, Drew Hahn out of Kaneland. Really impressed with the kid. Does a great job. Gets to the ball carrier. Again, closes up the gaps. Very impressive. It's going to be interesting to see Drew Hahn and next guy I'm going to say Derek Freeman from Woodstock North, to see them in the summer, what they do. Now, from Drew Hahn from Kaneland. Next one, Derek Freeman. Woodstock North. They have him as a defensive end, I know. 6'3". But if he gets, I feel that he can move to the defensive tackle spot. I think he did play a few things, especially with that Miami defensive front that Coach Schroeder likes to run so much. But it's going to be interesting to see Derek Freeman. He's a very kid that you want to keep a very good close eye out for from Woodstock North. I'm going to say this again. Derek Freeman, Woodstock North. Keep a very good close eye on the kid. He does an excellent job. I've had my eye on him since last season too. If he can transform into that defensive tackle spot, he'd be a great defensive tackle. That's just my personal feeling. Last one. Oh, I'm going to mispronounce this last name like it's nobody's business. Did an article with this kid. Great kid. Jake Janeko of Lockport. He is, again, fits into that mold of a Zach Wareyko, but I see him more as a bruising type of defensive tackle, making those piles. He does a great job with it. Basically, he's got the mentality. He's got that Lockport football mentality, tough-nosed SOB, basically. And just same, it's very important, especially being a defensive tackle, that you have that. And he's got that. So it's going to be interesting. And these defensive tackles, class 2019, please, as I said before, all of the defensive tackles that I talk about, some are going to be moved to defensive end with colleges talking about it. So I've had 2 defensive tackles in the past 2 years been told to lose weight, and they're going to be playing linebacker in college. So it's going to probably be switched around and everything. I do apologize. Again, my email is coachbigpete@fp@gmail.com. Be sure you follow Coach Big Pete Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Quick reminder: April 21st is the Matt Lemming Prep Insider Showcase. I will be coming out of retirement for one day to be helping coaching. I'm going to be help Matt Lemming coach. I'm going to be coaching offensive line, defensive line. Be sure you check it out, Matt Lemming Prep Insider Showcase. Also, if you like my work, again, feel free to leave a tip/donation via PayPal on deepdishfootball.com on the right-hand section. I also have the link before. And quickly, again, like I said, I'll probably have 8 to 10 names added by the end of September for defensive tackle. So just to let you guys know. Thank you so much, and have a lovely day.